What is going on, everybody? Welcome back. Hope you had a great weekend. Today we are talking all about the reason why you may not want your bond to last as long as possible. Now, when people often first getting into the hair system world, including myself, I was always wondering the question, how can I make sure that the bond is lasting as long as physically possible? How can I get the most juice out of this orange? How can I make sure that I never ever have to change my hair system? Now, this was fueled by a couple different reasons. One is because I did not want to have to go back and pay for a reinstall at a hair club or anything like that, because sometimes it can be expensive. Number two, and this is an honest reason, I hated the fact of seeing myself back being bald, right? Like when I took off the hair system, the whole veil, the whole illusion was completely destroyed, and I have to remember that this was a prosthetic, if you will, and that's tough mentally at first. And really the third reason was because, well, I just was lazy, right? And I didn't want to have to go through the process of learning how to do it myself. Now, let me tell you something. This is not the optimal way to move forward, because if you are relying on a set schedule to go about reinstalling your unit, right? So if you're saying, I'm only going to do this once a month, that means that you're going to start augmenting your behaviors or analyzing like how far you are through, your bond breaking down. And that's not a good feeling, because you're always doing this mental calculus of like, how long do I have left? How much have I used the bond? How much is it breaking down? Oh man, I'm not going to make it to a month. Oh man, here comes an unexpected cost or something like this, right? So it's constantly anxiety producing if you're setting yourself to, I'm going to get it every so often, like once a month, and no more than that. And if it doesn't work like that, then I got to go find another bond. Yeah, I mean, we all want to find the best bond for ourselves and figure out what works best for us and make sure that, it's the best product for our skin, that we're getting a good bond, all this kind of stuff. But let me tell you something, when you're holding yourself against a standard of a certain amount of time, it just creates anxiety and fear, and it's consuming is what it is. So that right there is reason number one why you don't want your bond to last as long as possible. You don't want to go until the final moment, because you're always going to be living in fear of, is it going to make it this long? Is it going to last? Is it going to survive? And that's just, it's not fun to be in. Number two, sanitary reasons. All right, guys. So when you are using your bond and you're sweating, someone like me especially, who's working out vigorously every single day, you're doing high intensity or interval training, you're running, you're sweating, you're working out, you're doing this and you're doing that, right? Our body naturally sweats. Our scalp naturally sweats. Toxins are released out of our skin. This is how we not only cool ourselves down, but it is also how bacteria leaves our body. There's bacteria on our skin at all times, because nobody can, be living in a bubble, really. So we're always coming into contact with bacteria. Now, that bacteria, as the bond breaks down when it heats up, and yes, it will heat up and it will become looser when you work out, when you heat up, anything like that, your bond will, this isn't a sign that it's breaking down, it's a sign that it's just simply becoming more malleable because of the heat. The chemistry of the bonds, they become solidified in a certain temperature range, and once they go above that, it changes the state of matter that it's in. It goes from being like a solid, if you will, to almost more liquidy. And it doesn't turn into a liquid, but it starts to melt, if you will, melt. So getting back to that point, as it melts, some of that sweat, some of that bacteria starts to kind of meld in with the bond. And you'll notice that when you do a reinstall, if you take off the unit yourself, you'll see that the tape is often, it's gone from clear to almost like this yellowish look. And that is the bacteria and the accumulation of sweat and things like that. It's almost like, think about if you're wearing a white shirt and you get sweat stains underneath your armpit. It's a similar thing. That's bacteria, that's sweat, that it's actually staining that, and that is living on your scalp, and it's trapped a little bit in that area. So this right here is not something that you necessarily want to have for an extended period of time. So it's more sanitary if you change your tape or your liquid adhesive more often. So it's actually a good thing to not make it last as long as possible. Now, the third reason why you may not want to change your tape or your bond is because you're lazy. And that's okay. It's okay. We can be lazy. But guys, this stuff requires maintenance, just like hair. Sometimes you got to go get it cut. Sometimes, you got to condition your hair. You got to style your hair. This is not a absolutely maintenance-free type thing here. It's something that you got to take care of. You got to put some tender, loving care and some TLC, and just execute on it. It's not that bad. Fear is one of the bigger players in this, guys. The reasons why we stop moving forward in our skills and our progression, because we're satisfied where we are, we're getting enough out of it, and we just don't need to improve. But what if life situations change for you? So what if for whatever reason you have a high-paying job and you can go and you can get the reinstalls every single time from a hairstylist, and then for some reason you lose your job or the economy tanks, or you move and you don't have a hairstylist? We got to take care of that yourself, maybe. Now, if you have been learning the skills and all of this stuff like that, there's no problem for you. But if you've sat on your laurels, if you will, for 10 years, you've never learned this, and then all of a sudden you're faced with learning it, it's going to be a shock to your system. It's going to be super hard. That's not going to be fun. So this is something that you're going to want to adapt. So when people say to me now, they're like, how long will the bond last? How long will the bond last? Everyone's really asking the question of like, how long can I put up with not having to do anything, not having to face the reality that this is a prosthetic? How long will it last, so that way I don't have to take care of it? Well, guys, that's the wrong framework. View this as an extension of yourself. You take a shower every single day, I'm presuming, or maybe every other day if you're on the borderline. But that is something that we're trained to do because it's hygienic, right? The same thing with your hair system. There's certain things you're going to have to train yourself to do more often, and that's okay. It'll take some time getting used to, and it'll be slower at first. Those are all expected things, but eventually, if you learn how to do all this stuff yourself, you're going to feel very empowered, and you're going to walk away feeling like $1 million, like you're on top of the world, that there's no reason why you're ever going to have to stop, and it's just going to be fun. And then you'll go get an ice cream cone. But so really think about that question. Why do I want this bond to last as long as physically possible? Like I said, guys, for me, I didn't want to have to come face to face with the fact that it was a prosthetic, that this was actually not my hair right here, and that's not a thing for me now. Now, I feel empowered that I can go in and I can change my hair system. I can reinstall it. I can clean my scalp. I can do all of these things, and it's going to be all okay. It's going to be all okay. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that stuff. If you sat through this video, it means the world to me, and it keeps you updated with all the latest happenings on this channel. I will see you in the next video.